Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to another episode of Outside Shots with your man, Eddie Johnson. I'm Saul Bookman. Thank you so much for joining us. We apologize for our 2-week delay. That's on me because there was just a lot of stuff going on last week, and it was a little overwhelming. I had a lot of stuff going on. But, listen, you had stuff going on yesterday. Happy birthday, Eddie.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of stuff going on the last few weeks, though. I think I should always come first. But obviously, you don't play that game with me. So that's a little disturbing.
Okay.
But thank you. Happy birthday to EJ. Yeah, 6'5". 6'5". I'm almost at my height.
Yeah.
Yeah, now here's the key. Here's the key, people. You want to stay your height when you get to that number.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be 68 3 years from now, God willing, and all of a sudden
6'6".
I've shrunk to about 6'5".
Yeah.
It almost depicts life because, if you're blessed and lucky enough, all in one ball, you're going to come in as a baby. And if you live a long life, you'll leave as a baby.
Yeah. Because
someone's going to have to take care of you. So that's the weird part about all of this. So that's why I'm trying to keep myself right, man.
I mean, you got such a long way to go, man.
Man, look, with a body like this, are you freaking kidding me?
Jesus,
that's the thing.
Even Eric is behind the Mac like, Jesus, this guy.
That's the thing, man.
You set him up for it.
I know. I don't know what I was doing.
Man, look at that. Look at them legs, man. I can still play. I can look the part. Like, I could run out on the court.
And nobody would think twice.
Well, put it this way. I could have ran out on the court when we were down 0-3. All right? When we were down 0-3, I could have ran out on the court. Now, I want you to give you this scenario.
Okay.
Because everybody was down. Like, we're 0-3. And I could have put on a uniform, the tight uniform, so you see the body. And ran out there, and the people were like, "Oh yeah, EJ is back."
Oh my goodness,
EJ's back.
I don't know if I would have had that reaction. I'm like,
"Oh yeah."
Nah, I'd have laughed because I'd be like, "Oh my God, EJ's on the court." And then if they were like, "Yeah, EJ's actually going to play today," I'd be like, "Oh yeah, we sold. It's over." I love you, man, but I don't know about all this.
What if I hit my first 2 jumpers?
Oh, hey, man. It'd be like Willis Reed all over again.
If I hit my first 2 jumpers, you'd be up there like, oh, snap. Oh.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I would jump out of my seat like, let's go. Man, maybe the Suns needed that, man. Oh, man. That would have been hilarious.
After about 6 minutes in, you look over in the tunnel. Paramedics would be there with a stretcher.
Oh my goodness, hell yeah!
That'd be like, we gonna have to go get this fool in a minute.
Oh my
Helicopter be landing on top of the arena. Ferry me to where they need to get me to. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, 65, man. That's a great age to get to, man. Hopefully a lot of us are blessed enough to get to that age. So,
hey, based on my life travels, all the situations I was in as a young man, all the traveling I have done in my life, all over the world, corners I have turned, stoplights I had to go through. Just think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what makes me different than the next guy that went through a stoplight and he gets hit because somebody doesn't,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's you gotta be thankful, man, and feel blessed to get to that point. So yeah, I'm fine with that. Turning 6'5" yesterday, it hit me a little bit. It did. It hit me a little bit.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, listen, man, I'm 44, and I always think about things in my life where, maybe you missed, something that could have been catastrophic, things that you've avoided, or, decisions that you've made that allowed you to not compromise yourself physically or, emotionally, or, stuff like that. And I think, you get to a point where you're at, man, it's got to be celebrated, man, because,
That's why
we all never know how much time we have on this earth. So
that's why, Suns fans, I don't have a date, but sooner or later EJ's got to move on.
Yeah.
And go hit that golf ball every day.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think this would be my 25th year. I've been doing this. Yeah, it's getting to that point.
Uh-oh.
I don't know how. I mean, somebody can throw something my way. Who knows? Right?
How are you gonna go out?
I mean, like, I love basketball. Another opportunity, another skill set, another job, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just been working since I was 14 years old. I've taken 1 year off in 14 years.
When was that?
And that was right after I retired from the NBA. I took a year off and drove my family crazy. And but I sat down, I wrote a book, You Big Dummy. You can check that out on Amazon. Still doing extremely well for young kids. You need to get it for your kids, trust me. Then I did obviously the instructional video, 90-minute instructional offensive skills video. I like to send it to a lot of these NBA players. But that's done very well over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's the year I took off, and actually I worked because I wrote a book and I did that.
Well, that's listen, man, you kind of led into something, but before we do get to that, you mentioned how you drove your family crazy. And multiple times on this show, I've mentioned how many times EJ comes in here just on fire. We have an example of that right now.
Get it started. Get it freaking started.
You're late, dude.
I'm not late. If he starts the damn thing, we normally don't even get started to 8:33, 8:30.
That's because you show up late every single time, man.
This fool was late last time we did it, and you gonna try to talk. Man, you better get me off video.
That's how it goes every single time. Every single morning, it comes in hot. Every single time, man. Oh, man. Well, the Suns did not come in hot in these playoffs, and that's really unfortunate because they got swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves, and now Ant is the greatest player of all time, apparently. He is Michael Jordan reincarnated and Kobe reincarnated. The list goes on and on and on. But, EJ, we haven't spoken since the end of the season. I wanted to get your opinion on, really the end of what was probably the most difficult season of Suns basketball, in my opinion, to watch because of the talent, the expectations, the inconsistency, and just the disconnectedness of this team and this franchise at the moment. And it was just really frustrating all season long.
Yeah, obviously, and it didn't end right. It didn't end well at all. Nobody wants to get swept, but no one wants to lose in the first round either. I don't see much difference in it. I know some people hold on to the sweep part. You lost. I don't care how you lose, you lost. You lose by 20, you lose by 2, you lost. That's just the way I've always viewed it. I don't accept second place in regards to me, putting it up on a mantle or something like that. It's just, you came up short. And, unfortunately for me in my career, I never won a championship. Got to the conference finals 4 times. Never was able to get over the hump, but I gave it my all. And that's all you can ask for. I won 1 championship. I had to go across the water in Europe to do it, but I did it. I did it in front of a hostile crowd, unbelievable situation. And for that 1 year, I accomplished something that I had not accomplished. In high school, 29-0, best high school team at one point in time in the country. It was myself, Mark Aguirre. If you followed the Paul teams back in the past, Skip Dillard, Bernard Randolph, I mean, we had 13 players on our high school team, and every one of them went Division I.
Damn.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh
that's how good we were. Like, we were a traveling road show. Westinghouse Vocational High School, Obviously, Mark Aguirre went number 1 in the 81 draft. I went at the beginning of the second round. Isaiah could have been on our team, but he wanted to go to a different school. I wish we would have gotten
You
him.
wanted to
But
go to that preppy school.
we had unbelievable. And you know what? We went 29-0, blowing out everybody, winning by 30, 40 points. And then in the city championship game got beat.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
So, I mean, like, so you look back and you say, man, so the goal is to win the title. And so in saying that, people, "Look, we need to blow it up. We need to do this." A loss is a loss. If we had won in the first round and lost in the second round, it still would have been the same feeling. That's just the way I view it. And if you don't win the title, one team is going to be standing. That's it. Other 29 teams going to be ticked off.
I agree. I mean, I agree. I think there's a lot of levels to this. You can point at the players and the leadership or the lack of connectiveness on that team. You can talk about how things just did not look smooth very often this season. There was moments, but man, they were not as frequent as they were in the last couple years. And I think that's the thing about this team is where you can't really point one finger at a single problem. There's multiple things that I think need to be addressed and need to be corrected. One of them is obviously, is there enough leadership in that locker room? Who is responsible for the leadership in that locker room besides the players? Are we talking about Frank Vogel, anybody on the coaching staff? Like the many different levels of this that I think are frustrating for a lot of Suns fans because there's not one problem. There's multiple issues and nothing is egregious. Like nothing is just over the top. Like you got to fix this right now or else. But there are a lot of small problems, and if you have too many holes in the boat, no matter how big or small, it will end up sinking at some point. It did sink in the playoffs this year. Now the question is can they fix whatever was wrong? And I know there's been a lot of teams in the past that have fallen on their face in the playoffs and then turned back around the next season, stayed together, and then been better for it. But this team is not a typical team because a lot of those instances have younger players. This is an older veteran team across the board. Not a lot of youth. Not a lot of guys under the age of 24. I don't think there's anybody under the age of 25 on this roster, as far as I can recall. Maybe Saban Lee might be. And so you're looking at a veteran, older team. Can this team figure out what was wrong in the offseason and correct it?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a real surefire. Yes, they can.
Okay. Well,
a bunch of veterans. You would think that they would have been able to correct it during the season.
Right. Well,
now,
this is the postseason now. So, during the course of the season, obviously what you do is you don't try to go all in. You try to put a Band-Aid on things as you move along, right? And that's part of my job. And obviously representing the Suns and being on the broadcast, I have to keep the masses energized during the course of the season. And then in the postseason, I'll give my thoughts on everything and what I think we should do and maybe why it went south. Okay, so here it goes. But first I want to give you an analogy.
Okay.
All right. You a James Bond fan?
I've seen a couple.
Yeah. So with James Bond, like all his movies really went the same thing. Like you open the movie and he's going full bore, and then you get into the storyline, and then he goes back to the quote unquote office. And in that office, they have all the things he's gonna need to go out into the field, right? So his car is going to be equipped with the right guns. He's got the phone. He's got the watch, right? He didn't make them, did he? He didn't build them.
True.
He relied on somebody else, right? And then they gave it to him and they taught him. What was his job? His job was what?
To carry out the mission.
To carry out the mission. Be an assassin, right?
Yeah.
That's what his job was. So my problem and what has to get fixed for the Suns is we have 3 assassins. KD, Devin, Bradley Beal.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at the box score, and we say, okay, what did KD do? What's the line you look at first?
Points.
What's the line you look at first for Devin?
Points.
What's the line you look at for
Points.
Bill? Points. Points,
Yeah.
right? So we got away from that. And the reason we got away from that is because we didn't, quote unquote, have a facilitator or a point guard. So then what we asked the very guys that we're going to look in that column to see that they score a lot, what we did, we asked them to do other stuff.
Yeah.
That took away from really what we look at when we pick up the paper. Their numbers, how many points they scored. We don't look at the assist column for Kevin Durant first. We don't look at the assist column for Devin and Bradley Beal first. We don't look at the rebounding. We look at how many points they scored because they're an assassin. We pick it up for Nurkic. What do we look at? How many rebounds he got?
Yep.
We can give a rat's you know what about how many points he scored. If he only scored 8 points, we're not going to kick him because he's not asked to do that. That's not part of his responsibility. Those three guys took on the responsibility of a point guard. So we asked three guys that are assassins to actually dribble the ball up and be facilitators as well as try to be scorers.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, now all of a sudden, I hope everybody's keeping track of what I'm trying to say, what happens is now they're coming down and they're saying, okay, I can't be too greedy. I can't I just can't just go for it because I got to see if we can get into our offense. But if they're not doing that, where are they catching the ball? In the area where they do extreme damage. They're not dribbling to the area. They're actually already catching it in the area because somebody just gave it to them. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about a pure point guard. Doesn't have to be. You could put a basic point guard out there with them three, and he should average close to 8 to 10 assists. Just giving basic passes. That's what happened, is that those guys took on a responsibility of point guard that took away their dominance as scorers. And as the game went along, as the season went along, they got more fatigued. They are assassins. We have to find people to facilitate to them instead of them facilitating to those guys. Mm-hmm. And that's what we got caught in doing. How many times did we see KD run a two-man game trying to facilitate for Drew Eubanks, who has a hard time catching in the paint? Yeah. No, somebody should be facilitating for KD because when it hits his hand, it's going in. Mm-hmm. And that is the issue. We got out of character because we didn't have a point guard. Ego came into play. Oh, I can do it. I can handle it. And they'd look good at times. But bottom line, before it's all said and done, they are assassins. They are paid to score. Yeah. That is it first. And that's what we have to get. We have to find somebody, and it doesn't have to be a great player, but some guys that can come in, get them the ball in their position. So get them where they can just catch it and score instead of dribble and score. You know how many miles they put on their legs this year by having to dribble into the very place that they could have caught it and scored?
Yeah, a lot.
That's what we have to improve. And just me watching all year long and just sending little messages out there, but never doing what I'm doing now. Yeah. I just felt like, this is the end of the season. You give your thoughts. And we got to get them back to assassin mode and forget about this other stuff. Yeah, KD, if you accidentally get 8 or 9 assists in the game, fine. That means after you caught it where you were, they maybe ran a double over there, you found somebody. Fine. But not be the facilitator. Yeah. It took too much energy out of them, I believe. It made them easily guardable. And I think that part has to change. But it's only going to change until we find somebody that has that understanding and won't turn it over. Basic passer. It ain't got to be some fancy dude. Just get it up quick, boom. If you watch the Clipper Dallas game last night. All Dallas did last night was just push the ball up the court fast.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And gave themselves 20 seconds in the shot clock instead of 15, 14.
Preach.
That's the problem. And that part has to be rectified.
You know, I wholeheartily agree with you. And I don't think it's necessary. It's not necessarily like everybody wants to get into this whole thing about point guard. Like this has got to be, you know, like prime Chris Paul type of guy that needs to come in here and fix everything. It's not like that. What you said is just setting the table, because even just that at a basic level gets these guys into a position to take advantage of their highest skill set, which is scoring. And that's the thing that I don't think yesterday when they had the press conference with Matt Ishbia and JJ, they reiterated the fact that they don't think they need a point guard. And James Jones said that, like, sure, we could get a point guard. And then the first question he asked to the media was who we're going to get?
A basic guy. Look, listen, a basic dude that does not expect to be a star, but he's going to facilitate and he's going to do exactly what he needs to do. Get the ball across half court quickly, get him into the offense, pass the ball, go stand and watch.
Yeah.
Because you got three dudes that can get it done. It's just setting the table. Like, I don't know about you. When my other half fixed dinner, I like for her to fix it because she puts it nice and neat on the plate, right? With, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, deliver it to me. It's just something laborious about me having to go up, and I know the food's good, and I got to fix the damn plate. Think about it.
I get you.
No, I'd love to be sitting on the couch and it just set right down in front of me, and I eat it, right? And I eat it much better. I enjoy it much better. That's the same. That's what I'm talking about for those three guys.
Yeah. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that press conference yesterday. I came away thinking, you know, it's great that they have confidence in the organization and where they're going. No issue with that. But the other issue is like there are some inherent problems that you have to recognize with this roster in terms of taking advantage of players' abilities and skills. And I don't think that they really had an opportunity to do that. And I think point book is okay in spurts. I don't think, as you saw this season, that you can do it for an entire year and think that you're going to get the same results, or that he's going to be able, maybe 7-8 minutes a game.
But what kind of spurt are you talking about when the ball is in his hand?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He gets a long rebound, turns and pushes it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I got
he gets a steal, turns and pushes it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not, they score a bucket, throw it into him, and he's dribbling up, and he's got full court pressure.
Yeah.
That now is not the strength that you want to put him in. Yeah. Fast break, oh yeah. Get it out quick, throw it up, outlet pass, get it to him, go, no problem. It's the throw it in, he's got to turn, they pressure him, and then he's up.
Yeah.
That part, like, that's the part we have to get away from with those three guys. That would save them so much energy during the course of the game if they didn't have to set the table.
Yeah.
They are the table.
1,000,000%.
That's what we have to. They talked about, I don't know how anybody's going to stop us from scoring. You're right. You know how? You can stop yourself if you're trying to do something else and not actually score.
I got you.
And look, this is somebody that was an assassin. I'm not like talking out the side of my head. If Cotton Fitzsimmons had told me, Eddie, I want you to bring the ball up. Really? I mean, what is that gonna do? The team we're playing is gonna be happy. Because I set the table, I did it underneath. I'm running off screens. I'm catching it and shooting it. Like, the ball was rarely in my hand. I could score 25 in a game, and the ball actually was in my hand probably less than 25 seconds. Because it was boom, shoot.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, my job description was an assassin. Dominique Wilkins, assassin. Michael Jordan, an assassin. How did Michael start winning? Michael started winning when they took the ball out of his hands. If you watch Michael his first 7 years, he had the ball in his hands, and they took it out of his hands. They gave it to Scottie Pippen. They ran the triangle, and Michael Jordan was just shooting 30. He had 30 attempts a game. Oh, he was putting it up.
Mm-hmm.
He had energy, and he was an assassin. Kobe, same way. Triangle. Phil took it out of his hands. Mm-hmm. That's the beautiful part of it. Why did Luka win the scoring title this year?
Because Kyrie was bringing it
They
up.
took it out of his hands. He didn't have it all the time. He had the energy to go score and be an assassin. That's what I'm talking about. And so we have to make sure that we cater to these guys and make sure that their first job responsibility is to be the assassin they are, and then everything grows off of that, but not the initial thrust of what they do.
Doug Allen said, I'm not trying to stir the pot, but the Nuggets don't have a point guard. There's a lot of teams that one guy on that one team. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sir.
Go ahead.
Sir.
Go ahead.
They do have a damn point guard. His name is Jokic.
Yes.
What are you talking about? They do have a point guard. His name is Nikola Jokic. Okay? With their offense. Jamal Murray pushes the ball up fast, and they get it to Jokic, high post, and they cut off of him, and he picks people apart. He's their point guard in the way that they run their offense. Okay? Duh.
Love you, Doug. Yeah. A lot of things that we've been looking at this season in terms of things that need to be corrected and fixed. I want to get your opinion on this, the leadership issue that keeps coming up over and over and over again. It's been mainly focused around Kevin Durant, obviously, because of the national narratives and, the Charles Barkley talking points and things of that nature. But, obviously it's not just Kevin Durant. Devin Booker is the face of this franchise, and Matt Ishbia reiterated that yesterday. Bradley Beal's been in the league for a while. Like, what happened to that leadership in the locker room, and why didn't we see it kind of manifest into more positive ways as the season went on? Because it felt like, everybody wants to point, well, they were 7-10 in the last 10. Like, it was fantastic. They were playing good basketball or whatever. I wouldn't even say that they were playing great basketball. I think they played good enough basketball to get those 7 wins. But, one of those wins was against the Clippers. And, I think everybody felt like that was a win that felt like a loss because it was just on the back heels of a blowout at home. And then they win the last 2. And that's the thing that I'm going to go back to is they win against Sacramento, and really a gutsy win led by Bradley Beal down the stretch. And then they blow out Minnesota again for the 3rd time in the regular season. And then they get to the playoffs and everything just falls apart. Where did leadership go wrong?
Well, I think one, you have to want to be a leader. You can't make somebody a leader. They have to want to be. And once they decide that they want to be a leader, it's like anything else. They got to work at it. Like, you just can't automatically step up, I want to be a leader. No, it's earned. Mm-hmm. And you gotta figure out how. Like, the one line that I always have, in order to be a great leader, and you want to try to get the best out of somebody and be able to reach somebody, first, before you even decide that you want to lead or you want to lead that person, you got to stare and figure them out first. Like, you can't just all of a sudden walk in and all of a sudden you're going to be a leader without knowing the person, without knowing how he ticks, how he walks, how he thinks, all that stuff. Get to know his family. Get to know him outside of out the game. Like, it takes work. It is not easy to do. I call myself a leader on most teams I was on after my 3rd year in the league. Rich Kelly, white center from Stanford, love him to death. He taught me the art of leadership. But along the way, a lot of guys taught me. Sam Lacey, these are old guys people wouldn't know. Phil Ford. Phil Ford taught me the art of leadership, man, my first year in the league in training camp. Phil Ford was one of the greatest collegiate guards ever at North Carolina. And he created the that offense they used to run, 4-corner offense, right? That's before they had a shot clock. And he used to run that thing, man, and control the game. And Phil Ford, I think he was an Olympian as well. Phil Ford sitting next to me in my locker, missed a game-winning shot. And I'm a rookie. He's like in his 3rd or 4th year. He's in his locker and he's bawling, crying, upset that he missed the shot. I looked at the guy to my right. I said, wasn't that an exhibition game?
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That was so impactful for me, man.
Yeah.
Here's a guy, probably one of the highest paid players on the team, highly decorated, and he was crying because he missed a shot in an exhibition game. That's a true story. And I was like, damn. They do take this serious. Because up until that time, they were like, oh, the NBA, they don't play to halfway, all that stuff. And I'm like, that's not true. You got to want it. If you're going to be a leader, you got to do all the things to be a leader.
Yeah.
You got to get to know your teammates. You got to do that. And so everybody want to say, well, KD should be a leader, or Devin, or Bradley Beal. No, I wasn't. I mean, up until my 3rd, 4th year, I wasn't the best player on any team I was on. But I was a leader. You don't have to be. I played for the Rockets. I would consider myself the leader on that team.
I hear you. However, I feel like when things are falling apart on the court, specifically on the court, and I'm not talking about like when we call a timeout, we're going to the sideline, I'm talking about on the court when this team has shown that, when a little adversity hits, sometimes they would go into a tailspin. Having a person on the court that can kind of keep everything together and rally things. I do think that listen, man.
Nurkic. You get my point? Like, it doesn't have, I'm not saying it can't be one of them 3. It should be one of those 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Don't get me wrong. It should be. But if it's not, it could be Nurkic. Like, it doesn't have to be the star. Because the one thing that they have so much on their plate, when they lose, when the Suns lost, who got ripped?
Devin
Those
Booker.
3.
Yeah, those 3, yeah.
So they have so much on their plate that sometimes you can take some responsibility. Why you think they kept Udonis Haslem on the Heat all those years? He wasn't playing.
Mm-hmm.
But who was the leader?
Udonis.
It was him.
Yeah.
He didn't even play. So it could be somebody else. Grayson Allen. It could be somebody else that can step up. Eric Gordon could have been that guy, right? They made a lot of noise about Isaiah Thomas when he showed up, how active he was and the leadership he showed. He didn't even play. So what I'm saying is you would like it to be those 3, but it doesn't have to be those 3.
It doesn't, but it's very rare that it's not, one of the better players on the team. It's very rare. It's not, like the last team I can think of that probably didn't have that was honestly probably Hakeem. He was pretty quiet on the court, but you had other players on that team that were.
Dirk won the title. I don't think Dirk was the leader.
Okay.
I don't think Jokic is the leader on Denver.
Who do you think
he doesn't say much.
Who do you think is the leader on Denver?
Maybe Contavious Caldwell-Pope.
Who's a starter?
And last year, that's I named Nurk and Grayson Allen.
True.
And then last year, DeAndre Jordan, Jeff Green, Ish Smith were their leaders. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is it's like sometimes it's hard to be the star and be the leader because the star is getting all the attention, getting all the money, getting all the shots. So the last thing another player would like is for him to be jumping all on top of them, mm-hmm. especially if they're scorers. Now, if they're a facilitator, it's different. That's why Chris Paul's a great leader. Mm-hmm. Like LeBron, great leader, because he's going to give it to you. You're feeding him as you're talking to him. If you're a scorer and you're not feeding them as much, but you're getting on them, Get it?
Yeah, I got you.
It's hard, like, to
That's a great point.
accept.
That's a great point.
So that's why I say, it's not always the guy that takes all the shots. Like, I was unique because I'm telling you, I was a leader in most locker rooms, but I did shoot the heck out of the ball. But I just balanced it, man. I took ownership in it. I got to know guys. I invited guys to my house. Kevin Johnson, when he first got traded to the Suns, I thought he'd moved in with me. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a young dude. He's over at the house. Wife is cooking food for him. I mean, so, I mean, if you're going to be willing to do that, then fine. So that's how I view it. So, I mean, we got to find better leadership without a doubt, but it not necessarily has to be the quote unquote person you think it should be. And that's always the best players on the team.
I got you. Well, hey, those are great points. I like the point about the shooting and leadership, and how some positions are a little bit more adept to being cultivated for leadership than others. I would agree with that. And it's just like I said, as the face of the franchise, and really, you got two guys that are kind of the face right now, and KD and Devin Booker. People are naturally going to look at them to see, when things are falling apart, what are they doing to try and right this ship? And when things don't go the way they go, like they did this year, then, people start to question those things. And I don't think it's inherently wrong to question it in terms of their involvement and what they want. I know their desire is always to win. They want to win at a high level. KD's always talked about he just wants to hoop. He just wants to hoop. He just wants to hoop. That's cool. That's fine. But people are going to naturally gravitate to those two because those are the eyes and the ears of this franchise. They get the most airtime. They speak on behalf of the team more than anybody else. When people are talking about the Suns, those are the first two players that they bring up every single time. Like, there is going to be a certain responsibility because of the weight that you carry from this franchise. And I think that's what people associate with leadership. And if we fall on your face, is their lack of leadership the reason why that they fell apart? And that's all I'm saying is the reson why people associate.
Don't they have the hardest job?
1,000,000% they do.
Okay, so you take any company then. You take any company, and you're the president of the company, and you're the one overseeing everything. All right? Or even a football coach, right? I think the football coach really plays that role, where the football coach is really the overseer of everything.
Yeah.
Okay? And so, but you have these other jobs, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They're the ones calling the plays. They're the ones they're really the ones that's going to get pressure to do well from the coach above. So the head coach can be the leader because these other guys are calling the plays. They're doing this. They're doing that. Yeah, they've gone over the game situation and all that, and he can overrule them, but still, he can do that, right? That defensive coordinator, he can't be a leader past his job. And so he's very vitally important. So you don't want to put too much on his plate because if you do, like, okay, yeah, you defensive coordinator, and then you got special teams too. Like, something's going to go wrong. So my point is, as I told you, those are three assassins. They're counted on to show up every night. They're going to get double teamed. They got to score their numbers. They got to play. They got to do this. They got to do that. It is nothing wrong with finding people around them that have leadership that would hold them accountable. Eddie, you're shooting too much. Eddie, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
That were willing to get in your face and say that. And you say, okay, you're right.
I got to ask you this question then. You know where I'm about to go.
What?
Do you feel like, based off of what you said, do you feel like Frank Vogel is that guy? To be that type of guy to hold people accountable outside of players, is Frank Vogel the type of guy to be able to manage and really lead this team?
I think you learn as a coach with your team. This is first year. And I think he learned a lot this year. I don't know how well he knew these guys before he got here. I think he learned a lot. And I think, as any coach would do at the end of a season, he's in the lab and he's writing stuff that, okay, I can't do this again. I can't do that. And I think, he would look in the mirror and say that he has to be better. I think everybody has to look in the mirror and say, I have to be better. And if you don't, then you don't need to be in that job.
Yeah.
Because everybody, it's no perfection. If it ain't nothing wrong with you, it's something wrong with you. So you have to be on top of it all the time. And so there's no way that anybody in the organization can walk away and say, I did my job. Right. So everybody has to improve, even myself in calling games and being able to have a middle ground. It's hard for me. Like, I've done this more years losing than I have winning. And it's hard to call games when you're losing, when things aren't going well. Because now I got to stay balanced. I got to be critical. Then I got to be balanced. And then, it's so like, because ultimately I work for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
And so I have to always pay attention to the product of our team. But also I know people know that I'm not a homer. Like, if I see something wrong or I say something, I'm going to say it. And I think they respect me for that. So, yeah, I think everybody has to look in the mirror. I don't think anybody walks away from this season and say, oh, I did my part. No, everyone can be better.
Yeah, everybody can be better. You can be better by getting some OGs in your system, especially if you're
Really?
a little stressed out from this season. It's an ad read, man. I got to get into it.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I'm sorry.
OGs is the best edible in the game. Tucson's very own OGs, made from scratch. These scratch-made gummies are fantastic. They're the best edible out there. Go check out ogsbrands.com for the closest dispensary to you to get these edible delights. Indicas, sativas, RSOs, you name it, they got it. They got the new vegan tangerine. And then they got the big mega gummy, which is 100 milligrams, but it comes in 10 milligram slices, so you can check it out. They also got Sleepy Time gummy, which is fantastic. I had to use that the other night because I could not sleep for anything after last week and the craziness that happened. So check it out, ogsbrands.com. You will love it. And remember, you must be 21 years of age to enjoy. You also must be 21 years of age to enjoy Four Peaks. Four Peaks is the best scratch brewery here in the Valley. Is fantastic. You got the Suns Brew, you got the Wow Wheat, you got the Kill Lifter. They're all great. My favorite's the Peach Ale. Go check out their 8th Street Pub. They got so much great food. The menu's constantly changing because it's seasonal. It's basically month by month. You'll get something different every single time you go there. And the people are great. The beer's great. You can't go wrong. Go check out the 8th Street Pub and go follow or at Four Peaks Brew on both Instagram and on Twitter. And once again, remember, you must be 21 years of age and over to enjoy. All right. You mentioned the Clippers and the Mavs last night. The Knicks and the 76ers are going to a game 6, surprisingly, because it looked like the Knicks had that one in the bag. And then Tyrese Maxey had other ideas. I mean, this is we thought this was going to be a pretty easy first round because it looked like every single series was going to end in 5 or less until these games. And I'm kind of wondering, are the Knicks going to let this one slide?
It's going to be tough. I think it's going 7. And it all depends. As we see with Joel Embiid, it's just game to game how good he's going to look. That's unfortunate when you're dealing with a issue. And I don't think he's playing on a knee that he shouldn't be playing on. Regular season, he'd probably be taking some days off. It just gets sore. Structurally, they say that his knee is fine, but it's just playing with that soreness, man. And it as the game goes on, it just ramps itself up. So it all depends a lot on how he's feeling. I thought in game 2 he looked a lot better than he did in game 1. Then in game 3, I thought he looked very good. Obviously, I think he had 50 in that game, right? And then game 4, he looked like an old man. So that's just the way it is with him. But I think it's going to go 7. I just love, look, first, there's no better place to play than Madison Square Garden. I'm going to tell you. People, I know you keep hearing about it. I am telling you, it is unbelievable. Not just the stars that's there. It's just the environment, man. Just that building, just how it's built. And just how it's structured and how the fans are right on top of you. And it's just an unbelievable place to play.
Sounds like we need to make a road trip.
It really is. I had some great games in there, man. It's just a great feeling. But I loved it when they was putting the camera on them. You got all my boys in there too. These are all friends of mine. John Starks, Patrick Ewing, they up in there high-fiving. They having a good time. And when they lost, they put the camera on. They like, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And it's going to be even crazier in Philadelphia tonight, right? Tonight.
Yeah,
And,
tonight.
so yeah, I can't wait for it. It's going to be unbelievable. But yeah, that series is something special. I like that series. I think it'll go 7. I think Orlando, Cleveland will go 7. It hasn't been as watchable, but Game 5 was extremely watchable. So yeah, and then the Clipper Dallas game. I just think people are seeing how good Dallas is, man. I said before the playoffs, so that they could actually get out of the West, man.
Yeah, I believe it.
They if Luka can stay healthy, I've told people when they put these two together, Kyrie and Luka, I said the one thing and the biggest problem for every team in the league, if the game is close in the fourth quarter, in the last 3 to 4 minutes, those two dudes gonna beat you. They're gonna beat you.
Mm-hmm.
They're two of the best clutch players in the game. They're gonna beat you, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Like it's amazing. That move Kyrie put on last night in the open court.
My goodness.
He's only one of the few people I've ever seen in history of the game that had the ad-libness, I don't know if that's a word, to be able to do what he did, where he took the ball around his back with his offhand like that. Going, man, come on, man.
Yeah,
come on. Man.
I mean, Kyrie's, in my opinion, Kyrie's skill sets, from a ball handling standpoint, really all the way around, are the best I've ever seen. Like he's a magician with the ball. He can do so many different things. He's got so many moves. And then to couple him with a player that makes everything, this is the weirdest thing to say, the most easy thing I've ever seen. Like he should not, being as lack of fleet-footed as Luka is, and the physicality that he has, to do what he does with ease is just remarkable.
Simple. Footwork. And
footwork. And I'll say this, you look at what the Suns did, and they got Bradley Beal and they got this big three, which has obviously limited them salary cap wise and able to make other moves. And then you look at Dallas, who's basically in the same position as the Suns last year in acquiring Kyrie right around the same time the Suns got KD. And you look at what Dallas did, and instead of getting another superstar, and I know they tried, but it just didn't work out. They instead built a complementary team around these two individuals, and I think it's worked out. And yeah, I think they are the biggest threat to the Denver Nuggets in the West.
They are, but Minnesota is too.
I think OKC is pretty tough too.
Minnesota is too.
So that
I'm telling you, if Karl Anthony Towns plays like he did against them as he did us, Denver's in trouble. Like Denver, even though it was a 5-game series with the Lakers, every game went down to the wire.
I don't believe it.
Oh yeah,
I don't believe in Minnesota.
Well, I don't know why you don't.
I don't.
Look, if Karl Anthony Towns and that dude Anthony Edwards keeps playing like he is, I am telling you, and Gobert is a problem. He is a problem, man. I'm telling. So yeah, they swept us, and I'm not trying to lift them up because they swept us. That is a good basket. They are an excellent basketball team. They won 57 games. That dude McDaniels, he's gonna guard Murray. Telling you, he's gonna guard Murray. That shot Murray normally gets coming off that screen, now he got a 6'9" dude on him that can move laterally with him. That's a problem. Gobert defensively, fighting Jokic, being a deterrent for him, and now Jokic got to go under him instead of over him like he normally does people. That's a deterrent. Mm-hmm. Like, Michael Porter Jr., you got to guard somebody that can shoot the ball just as good as you now. Mm-hmm. Karl Anthony Towns. Like, it's I'm telling you, man. And then Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I just got to him last. But who's going to deal with that? So Davies Caldwell-Pope's got to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Look, I don't know, man. Like, they showed me something. Yeah, they beat us. We could argue we didn't play well. Man, this playoffs getting ready to get very interesting is what I'm saying.
What I'll say is this. I think you're going from a team that was disconnected in the Suns and could not really get it all together in the Suns to a team that is very much respected as being connected because they've been together for so long. And, Minnesota's favorite son, Base Gyron, is in the chat. He said, LMAO, salty ass. I love that guy. You're not wrong. I mean, yeah, I don't know if listen, if Minnesota holds their own and they end up beating Denver, then
offensively, if they go south, so that's been their problem during the season at times. But right now, I'm telling you, man, they were very connected against us.
No, I know.
And Devin got loose at the end. But I mean, I am telling you, they were very connected, man. And Mike Conley is the stabilizer.
But they were connected because we were so disconnected on defense.
I hear you, but
we were dog shit in 4 games. Let's be real.
But I saw things defensively that they did to us.
Okay.
That
are they going to be able to do the same thing to Jokic?
Yes,
though?
They can.
To Jokic?
Minnesota was the best defensive team in the league all year. They were the top team in the league all year defensively. And then they come off the bench with Naz Reid, and they come off with Walker. Like I'm telling you, man, that is a very good basketball team. And if Jamal Murray's calf is bothering him, they're gonna beat him.
Okay.
I'm telling you, if Jamal Murray's not 100% healthy, Minnesota's gonna beat them. I'm telling you, man, don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them.
All right. Okay. All right, man. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
All right.
All right. Well, that's about it for today. We have one last little thing that we'll talk about. But first, we got some super chats. Cycle Blue with a super chat said, "Happy birthday, EJ. I didn't mind Matt and JJ. Better not to tip your hand until June. Suns have to sleep in the bed they made until at least next summer. But that's just me. Not the only team on the couch facing choices right now." And he also said, B-Ball Cthulhu wonders if Grayson Allen could play point forward if the top 5 sticks around. And then finally, EJ's right. Bring back team captaincies on the uniforms. I don't think Grayson Allen as the point forward is an answer whatsoever.
No.
I think.
See, again, what are we doing if we put that responsibility on Grayson Allen? He's not the assassin that we want him to be.
Yeah.
Run down the court, get in the corner. Your man's never going to leave you. If he does, you're going to shoot 50% from 3, and that's it. No. He needs to stay with his job description. We need somebody that has a description of just doing exactly what they need to do. Get the outlet, push that sucker up real quick. Now we're across the court, and we got 21 seconds left on the shot clock.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got 3 dudes out there that we move the ball around. We're going to get a good shot. That's it, man. It's that simple in the nutshell. I don't care. Time is important. Get the ball up quickly. Whoever that guy is, get your butt out of the way and let these dudes cook. That's it. And hopefully that'll be the case and we can find somebody.
Base Gyron said, "Not saying we'll win, but the regular season matchups with the Nuggets told me everything I needed to know. Every time we played the Nuggets fully healthy, we beat them by double digits." Hey, you remember a team that swept another team that was like the best defensive team in the league by double digits all regular season, and then what happened to them in the playoffs?
There's one thing we've learned, is that the regular season isn't a good indicator for what the playoffs are going to bring you.
Well,
okay?
and strength of schedule isn't either, because at the end of the season, everybody said the Suns' strength of schedule was going to relegate them to the play-in, and we actually went on the road and we beat very good teams, to get in and not have to be in the play-in. So it's 2 different seasons. In playoffs, every possession counts. It's so tedious. It's just a different animal, man. It is no different in like, say, baseball. Like, baseball is best watchable during the playoffs because every pitch counts. Like, you're on the edge of your seat on every pitch now.
Mm-hmm.
In the regular season, you're not. So, by the way, my Cubs are doing well right now.
Good for you, Eddie.
I want you to know that.
Good for you, Eddie.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have bees all up in our stadium.
Oh, come on. Jesus. Oh my God. You guys don't even have technology in your stadium. Stop.
First and foremost, sir, let me get you straight. An article was just out last week on the best baseball stadiums in Major League Baseball.
I didn't say it wasn't one of the best.
No, it is the best. It's number one, Wrigley Field. And we had about $1 billion in improvements. So you haven't been there. We got a disco. They have a disco in the locker room.
What?
Oh, yeah.
A disco in the locker room?
You didn't remember the year they won the World Series?
Uh-huh.
And every game they'd go down there and they turn the disco lights on. Yes. They actually have a lounge club in their locker room.
All right.
Oh, yeah. So you better watch yourself.
EJ, what do you got planned for the rest of the
jam?
What do you got planned for the rest of the off season? Got anything going on?
Golf. Still doing the SiriusXM NBA radio show on 4 to 7 Eastern time, 1 to 4 right now Pacific time. That's going to always be because you got the Summer League. We'll be in Vegas for a couple of days for that. You got the draft. So that's my nonstop job, but I'll take a lot of days off, obviously, in the summertime. But just playing golf, traveling a little bit. That's it.
You going to travel anywhere specifically?
Not anything great like I normally do. Next year, though, I got a great trip. I'm going to Ghana.
Oh.
All-Star break.
Oh.
So I'll take about 10 days off. And so I'm going to go to Ghana. I don't know if I'm going to go on the safari, but we'll wait and see. You know, I saw something on Instagram the other day. Guy was on a safari. He was taking pictures.
Yeah, on the front, taking a picture.
He was taking pictures, and all of a sudden looking at the lions. And all of a sudden, them lions got slick on them. They sent one of their boys all the way around. And next thing he knew, he turned and he saw the lion staring at him right there. And the lion was looking at him, and he just did this. He didn't move. The lion walked past him and looked at him, and he was just like this.
Yeah, it was like a check moment.
And his boys was over there laughing. They were like and then he walked past him. Then he turned around and he came back to him and stood right in front of him. And the guy was just like this. And then the lion walks up and puts his nose right in his crotch.
I did not see that.
Yeah. And then looked at him. And the dude was like this. Then the lion like turned and walked away.
Whew.
Let me tell you something.
Yo.
Man, I'll tell y'all what, I might have played statue, but I would have been in a swimming pool because I would have just urinated all over myself. I'll tell you, some of you people are crazy. That's all I got to say.
Man.
So I'm not going to be out there doing that, but yeah, going to Ghana.
All right. Yeah, I'm going on a cruise next month. So I'm
good for you. Don't walk too close to the edge.
You know, I won't. You realize that 2 people a year on average fall into the water,
more
right?
No. It's
2.
It's more than that in terms of people commit suicide. They go on the ship and they jump. They don't talk about it, but it happens. I'm dead serious.
Do you know what you're supposed to do if you fall into the water on a cruise ship?
What?
You got to swim as far away from the ship as possible. Otherwise, it'll suck you under.
Well, I'm done.
Yeah. And then if you survive that, sharks are all around. Why? Because sharks have been trained basically to know that cruise ships will have food and stuff like that drop off the ship. And so they follow the path. And so like you got 2 hours in that water.
But basically you're done.
You're done. Yeah, basically. So
basically.
On that note,
don't get too drunk.
Everybody else, you all have a great rest of your week. We are going to change up this schedule a little bit. So stay tuned for that. Outside of that, follow my man on Twitter at JumpShot8.
Later.
You can follow me on Twitter at Saul_Bookman. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. Until next time, we love y'all. Peace.